Welcome to Real Life Topics Podcast, guys. Welcome to Real Life Topics Podcast, guys. You guys already know what time it is. Every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. An exclusive interview is every week. And of course, we keep coming with exclusive interviews. We even have a recap exclusive live interview for you guys this evening. Welcome.
Yay, yay.
Welcome, Mr. James Artisan, guys, to Real
What
Life.
up? What up? What up?
Mr. James Artisan is a producer. Well, we're going to go with singer, songwriter, producer, audio engineer, and the CEO of Humble Sound Records. Real Life Topics audience, please welcome Mr. James Artisan, formerly known as James Worthy.
Much love, man. Appreciate y'all.
What's good, Mr. James? What's good?
Man, what's good? What's good? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. Happy New Year. It's 2026. This is a new year, and we definitely growing and developing and going to continue to grow and develop. And I know the universe and God has so much in store for us for our future. So I know we getting ready to do the thing.
Absolutely.
But I would like for you to let Real Life Topics audience know who is James Artisan in your definition.
Who is James Artisan? In the short form answer, I'm just somebody who loves the arts. I'm somebody who loves entertainment. I'm somebody who loves music. I'm from Queens, New York. I've been around music my whole life, traveled the world my whole life. So I've had so many different experiences that kind of shaped me to be the person that I am today. So it's all been a blessing.
Yes, so you're a singer and a songwriter. How did that journey start for you?
Man, so just being from, New York to be exact, it was just a lot of influences and a lot of, um, I would say a lot of things in the vicinity that geared towards the entertainment world that I was exposed to and was really at my disposal. So it was kind of like the inevitable for me to want to get into the music industry and business because it was always around me. But then also too, I was just always one of those nerdy kind of kids who I love just researching things and I love learning about different things, whether it was about the world or music or entertainment. So music was just one of those things that I just kind of latched on to because I had a strong love for it because of my parents and because of, me being exposed to it at a young age. And I started off songwriting first before anything else. So the songwriting was like my introduction to me getting into music. And then once I started, getting better and better at it, that's when the music production part came into the play and then so forth and so forth.
So, when you first started, you first start singing, or what was your first move? Because you're, of course, a jack of all trades. You do singing. You're a songwriter. You're an audio. You engineer music. Like, what was your first move to just jump into this whole thing?
Well, the first move was the songwriting part, and then after that, I slowly got into the music production part, and then after the music production part is kind of when the engineering aspect came into it because by that time I started working with more mainstream artists on the production and writing side, and I'm also recording them in the studio. So I had to really learn, about mixing and mastering records and actually, making full records and making sure it sounds the way it needs to sound before anybody else hears it, to the public. And then the artistry part, slash singing part was kind of like the icing on the cake because I didn't become an artist until like 2017. So that was like, and I did it that way because I've always been a stickler of things happening at the right times, and you have to, kind of crawl before you walk, so to speak. So my thing was I have to kind of study the game and I have to study, okay, who am I going to be as an artist? What is going to be my direction, my sound, what is my it thing? that people are going to look for me. And once I started slowly learning that, that's when the artistry part came into it.
Okay, so could you name off at least one song that you did write when you first began this whole thing that just made you realize, hey, I'm gonna stick in here and do this songwriting. I wrote this song went somewhere, or this song had other clients calling me. And so what was the first song that you wrote that just made you say, I'm gonna lock into this. I am gonna become a songwriter?
Hmm. You know, it's interesting because when in the beginning of it all, really, I remember this is the time when Twitter just came out, and people were just finding out about it. People were joining at a mass rate, especially artists and producers and stuff. So I would see certain artists join Twitter, and they would put out their personal emails telling producers, "Hey, send me beat packs to this email, and I'll choose whatever I like." And at this time, mixtapes was super, super hot. So this is when a lot of artists were having their mixtapes hosted by DJs. You had like the Gangsta Grills, you had the Don Cannon mixtapes, you had the DJ Ill Will and Rockstar. Like there was a lot of stuff going on with that. So when I seen that, I just started submitting beats to anybody that I could submit it to that would give out their personal emails. And I remember I had got a placement with Wiz Khalifa at one point. I got a placement with Young Berg at one point. It was just a bunch of different artists at one time that I was like getting placements on these mixtapes, through that email system. And after that, I'm like, well, obviously I'm doing something right, so I'm gonna just keep going and going. But that kind of put the battery in my back to be like, okay, now how can I get to bigger and more mainstream artists, and how can I get more placements, and how can I work with more people, and how do I get in these rooms? And that's when the real business acumen of things kind of started. And then I just started climbing up that ladder.
Oh, okay. So I really want to touch bases now because of course you started off songwriting and producing, doing some engineer. That's how you started off. But now it's more focused on being the artist yourself.
Hmm.
And in now it's pushing towards like, hey, I've put in all this work. I've helped others grow, produce great songs, wrote great songs, and so now I am, as an artist, I want to. What made you just say I got to push my name? I have great talent. I'm getting ready to push James Artisan as the artist.
um I think like, well, in the beginning, I've always seen myself as being a mogul. And being a mogul is you're wearing so many different hats and so many different facets. And that's, kind of the trajectory that I've always seen myself going in. So before you even go to one thing, you got to perfect, the one thing before you go to the next. So that was kind of my lane was, okay, I'm gonna perfect this, I'm gonna perfect this, I'm gonna perfect this, and then I'm gonna keep going and going until I'm perfecting everything that I need to perfect, and then keep building on each one, until you're bigger than life. You know what I mean? So that's always been my goal. Um, and you know, in the beginning of me becoming an artist, it really wasn't a specific plan of when that was gonna happen or how it was gonna happen. It just kind of happened in the sense of, like, I always tell the story when I pretty much debuted myself as an artist, I was actually in a group with another gentleman by the name of International Nova, which now he's actually a Latin artist, but back then he was a hip hop artist. And the name of our group was called Kings X2, and we put out one single called "Wine for Me," which debuted at number 10 on the Billboard charts.
Oh,
Now at
okay.
this time,
Shout out to Wine for
yeah,
Me.
shout out to that record, man. It was a big success for us, and it was the first time that I was ever on a song, period, as an artist. So that right there just was kind of like a, you know, a wow moment, not only for me, but for a lot of my industry peers as well, because they're like, okay, well, how the heck did he do that? But then also too, they never knew that I was becoming an artist either, so it was kind of that shock value. And I just started building on top of that, and building and building until, I got to my solo projects and just kept going from there.
Yes. So where are we at now as of James Artisan as an artist? Um we have do you have an album that's dropping, or you just you have a single? Of course, one of my favorite singles. I don't know exactly what it's called, but I you got something special is the chorus.
Okay.
Um
Okay. You probably talking about City Love.
City Love.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to my brother Brian McKnight Jr. as well.
Yes, Brian McKnight featuring Brian McKnight Jr. Is that Brian McKnight son?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Because some people can have the same name and it might not be them. But shout out to
Yeah.
Brad Jr. because City Love is definitely one of my number one songs from you. I mean, that's going to definitely grow as well.
Thank
But
you.
I now I want to rewind back to the beginning of this whole music career, this
Okay.
whole thing where it all got started. How old were you when this all got started? How old were you when you said, "Hey, I'm doing the music thing"? I believe you were in school at one point.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had a wonderful moment that I'm sure everyone always asks you about. But
Mm.
how did it all just get started? What age were you when you got started with this? Just the whole.
Um, I would say professionally, I started around 17.
Okay.
But when I actually decided that I wanted to actually do music was probably around probably 11 or 12. That's kind of when I made that decision. But I made that decision because I got to meet my idol, which was Michael Jackson.
Okay. Shout out
And
to the
yeah,
kid.
shout out to Michael, the greatest to ever do it. And you know, just anybody who's a huge fan of somebody or has, high admiration for, especially somebody like Michael Jackson, having that moment is a pretty big deal. And especially me being that young of an age and me kind of knowing his catalog very well, and me having, that type of moment, even being there, because the crazy part was, it was an event that not only for him, he was accepting an award that night, but it was all older people. So
Okay.
it was really no young people there at all. And most of the people thought I was older than what I was anyway, because I've always been told I had an old soul. So
Oh,
people always thought that I was older. So that's kind of how we slipped through the cracks. But yeah, we ended up having that exchange with him, myself and my father. And that was kind of like the moment, like, if I could do this, anything is possible, really.
yes, yes, yes. So, of course, you got a chance to meet Michael Jackson. Can we get a little teensy bit of that moment meeting Michael
Yeah,
Jackson?
so crazy part was, we ended up going to the green room in the back of the building. And I'm thinking, this guy, this is Michael Jackson, so he got to have about 10 bodyguards, around somewhere, guarding this guy. And we're knocking on the door, and he answers the door. And
Hmm.
I'm thinking somebody else would, but he answers the door. And not in a bad way, not in a startled way, like, hey, hey, how you guys doing? And in his soft voice. And he's like looking at me up and down, and I'm pretty sure he's trying to figure out who we were, but he didn't really say that. But he just looked at me up and down, and my dad introduced himself, and he introduced me, and just letting them know, hey, my son is a huge fan, and we just wanted to meet you. And he pretty much gave me a hug. He signed my T-shirt that I had, and last thing he said was, I could just feel that you're somebody destined for greatness.
Mm.
um, which at that time I didn't really grasp that. I was just probably in the moment, hey, I met Michael Jackson. But
Right.
as I replayed that encounter, some time later, it was just like, that's a pretty big deal, for him to say that. and lo and behold, I became me.
Yes. So, and how were you when that moment happened?
I was about 11.
You were about 11, and then here we are at 17. You said at 17 when you first started to become professional with it.
Yeah.
Um, 17. What move did you make that you felt like, hey, I'm because you did just say at 17, that's when I started professionally. What was the professional moment at 17?
Well, when I really, really decided, hey, this is gonna be the path, I was still in high school, and I was in this music program that was spearheaded by Dallas Austin, and pretty much the program was geared towards um, making music. Just kind of learning about hardware and software and how to actually produce music and how to write songs. That's the main basis of what that program was for, and it was pretty much a hand-picked select few of students that they chose for this program, and I was one of them. And it was a really, really cool experience. I got to meet Dallas a bunch of times, throughout the year for that program, and it's kind of funny and ironic now because I know Dallas personally, but he sees me now, as of course one of his peers. But back then, I was just a young kid who was,
Yeah.
trying to figure it out. So it's always a funny story.
Yes. Shout out to
Um,
Austin.
yeah, shout out to Dallas.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of the beginning of it, just figuring it out. And once I graduated high school, I ended up going to SAE Institute. I got a certification in audio there, and then I went to the Art Institute of Atlanta after that for a degree.
Okay, and that's when you moved to Atlanta as well, or
No, actually, I was already in Atlanta when I went to high school.
okay,
So I spent my whole high school life in Atlanta. Went to college in Atlanta. And, after I finished college, that's when I started traveling a lot more, because a lot of the work picked up, working with other artists. But the school life definitely was in Atlanta.
okay. So the school life was in Atlanta, but just born in New York.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, and then you moved over to Atlanta. So once you were once you did make it to Atlanta, the college life. Did you go to college? Of course, you took up a course for audio engineering. You did go to school for that. What school did you attend for that?
Yeah. So for the audio engineering, I went to the Art Institute of Atlanta. And before that, I went to SAE for pretty much like what they call Pro Tools certification and audio certification. So just kind of certifying myself in the engineering aspect of it. And then when I went to our institute, it was just kind of that on steroids.
Oh, okay. So what would you tell your younger self? You are James Artisan right now as of today, and you are so successful on different many avenues. You're a great artist, a great songwriter. You're pretty much on top.
Thank you.
So what would you tell your younger self? Uh what would you tell your younger self that today you might say, hey, I should have, did that, or think just something different, or some type of advice that you can give people out there, or youngs out there, some advice to just let them know as a younger age. What would you tell your younger self as being a songwriter and a producer and an artist, and of course a CEO of a record company now? What would you tell your younger?
Um, hmm. I would probably say just practice a little bit more patience in the beginning. And that's always hard to say too, because when you're just coming into the game, you're wet behind the ears. You don't know what you don't know. It's all trial and error. But also too, it's hard to say that you have to have patience when most people are counting you out. Most people are not understanding your vision or seeing your vision. They're thinking that, oh, this is not a real career. This is not a real job. You got to do this. You got to do that. It's so many different variables. But you know, if I had to really, really hone down on something, it would be the patience, because this game it's not for the weak, number one, but also two, it is a waiting game a lot of times.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
is a patience game. You gotta like, you know, it's almost like they say, paying your dues. You got to pay your dues. So a lot of things you may not want to do that you got to do. There's a lot of shaking hands. There's a lot of people you got to talk to. It's a lot of networking that you got to do. It's a lot of relationships you got to build. So many different things before you see a dollar. So many things before you see an opportunity. But those things make your opportunities. So it's all a process.
Yes. So, Humble Sound Records. You're the
Hmm.
CEO. You're the CEO.
Hmm.
It's always good to be a CEO and have a
Oh yeah.
CEO mindset. So,
Absolutely.
um, you have great artists. I kind of wanted to dwell on the artists and what's going on with Humble Sound Records because you have great artists. What I liked about the background of Humble Size Records, and it's just the beginning because Humble Sound Records has been out how long now?
We've been out about a year now.
Exactly. So this is brand new.
Yeah.
And what's interesting to me was the diversity at
Yeah.
in Humble Sound Records. And so if you can just dwell a little bit on Humble Sound Records and where are we at right now with Humble Sound Records?
Yes. So Humble Sound Records is my label imprint, in conjunction with Sony Orchard. And we're just pretty much a label house that houses artists that we deem as just creatives. Sometimes I hate to just call them artists. Sometimes I like to call them just creatives because they do so much more than just artistry. But musically, we've chosen artists that have distinctive sounds, have distinctive it factors about them. And some of them are older artists, some of them are younger artists. And we've done that by design because you know for one, like you said before, it's about diversity. And
Hmm.
we want to give the public and the audience something different, some because of course we know that everything isn't going to be for everyone, but
Correct.
there's going to be something for everyone. I
Exactly.
mean, and that's the reason why we like to keep the diversity, especially in different genres. So that's the reason why we have the artists that we have. In the interim of that, we've dealt with other artists that we didn't necessarily sign, but we've done deals for their projects,
Okay.
as one-off projects. So it's really been a great experience thus far. We've done a whole lot in just 1 year,
Mhm.
that most labels haven't, So it's been great.
Yes. So are is Humble Sound Records looking for artists or where are we at with that?
Um, I wouldn't
Artists.
say we're necessarily looking for an artist right now, but if there is someone that comes across to us, or if they have a specific project that speaks to us, then we're not opposed to it.
Okay.
We're always looking to do great business, but I wouldn't say we're necessarily looking for artists right now.
Okay, I get what you're saying. It's not. It's something that you wouldn't. If someone is interested and has a proposal, that's fine. But as far as like you say, looking or trying to catch the next big
Right,
artist
right.
type of vibe, that's not it. But of course, we do want everyone to know who James Artisan is
Of course.
because of course that's what you're pushing now, your artistry. You're an R&B artist.
You know what? A lot of people ask that question, and I typically kind of put it under the what I call progressive R&B. And what that means is it's kind of a infusion of different styles into R&B. So, because I know a lot of times when people say R&B, they're thinking probably either traditional R&B, or they're thinking like R&B soul or soul music or something like that. But with me, I do pretty much all genres of music. But of course, my primary genre is R&B. But I can infuse pop music into R&B. I can infuse dance music into R&B. I can, of course, hip hop into R&B. So it's so many different styles that I, kind of shift through. So that's why I call it progressive, because it's a growing style.
Exactly. It's not just one track. It's not just one track that R&B or just pop. Is progressive of it all, because you do have a pop song, and I listen to. I can press play. By the way, I can go
Thank
to the artist and
you.
I can just press play and just go through. But you have a pop song, and you probably have more than one
Oh,
that
there's a couple out there. Yeah, yeah.
a couple out there that you do have. But I mean, like I said, you could press play on your whole playlist and just listen to it clean all day, which I actually do. So
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you.
I just wanted to let you know that I am proud of you on that. And this is not the end. This is not the end
Oh
of
yeah,
just
we just getting started. We just getting started.
getting started, just getting started. So could you tell Real Life Topics podcast audience if they want to contact you for any booking or any interviews? Where could they contact you at?
Yeah, you can find me all social media at James Artisan. You can go to my website www.jamesartisan.com, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/James Artisan. Um, you can also hit my team directly at humblesoundmedia@gmail.com. And of course, somebody will get back to you. And, just stay tuned to what I got coming up. It's a lot of new music getting ready to drop. Of course, before 2026 rolled in, I had a slew of other singles that came out through 2025 that's still finding its way. So I'm actually working on new projects right now. I'm working on a new collaborative project with an artist by the name of Big Bags. We're dropping a new collaborative EP called The Art Dealer, which is coming out March 6th. So
Okay.
stay tuned for that. We'll be announcing all of that. Shout out to Bags.
And shout out to Bags.
Yeah,
Bags,
man.
that'll be dropping March 6th.
March 6th. So can't wait for that. The Art Dealer. What else we got? I got new music with Cujo Goody and the Goody Mob dropping probably in April. We're finalizing all that stuff now, but shout out to the Dungeon family, Goody Mob. And last but not least, I'm working on my debut album, which is coming out this summer. So I'm super excited about that.
Yes, that's coming out this summer. Do we have the name of the album yet, or we're still working on the name of the album?
Yes, so the name of the album is going to be called Never Mind What They Said.
Never mind what they said. Shout out to the new album coming out this summer with James Artisan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just got so many big things. In a minute, I'm not even gonna be able to say.
Yes, it's a lot going on. It's a lot. I mean, and it's probably actually more stuff than that. But I'm trying to think off the top of my head. But there's always stuff popping up. That's one thing about it is in this game there's always things that come up. Week to week, month to month. So I'm pretty sure it'll be something. But those are the three main things right now. But also too, just to add on to the album, I'm also going to be working on the James Artisan documentary as well.
Oh, okay. Shout out.
So
Shout out.
that right there is going to kind of like pull everything together towards the album, because we're trying to package it together. But it'll kind of give you the full rundown and the full story of from James Worthy to James Artisan, and how I got here, and all the roads that I had to take, and all the things I had to endure, and all the different things that makes me who I am. So I'm really excited about that.
More question about that. You are formerly known as James Worthy.
Yes.
James Worthy, I call it your government name.
Yeah, it is. Technically.
James Worthy is your government name. I always have to joke about that with people.
Yeah.
What made you transfer over to James Artisan?
Um, it was a couple of things. So the first thing being that I was sharing the same name with another gentleman named James Worthy, who used to be a NBA basketball player.
Okay.
So sometimes it would be a lot of confusion between the two of us. So some people might think, "Oh, I didn't know such and such did music now," or I didn't know that he started playing basketball now or whatever. So it was just kind of that confusion. And at a certain point I was just like, it was just kind of time to just get away from that and start, carving my lane into getting rid of that confusion. And
Okay.
that's when I decided to change the name. And actually and honestly, it was probably the best thing that I ever could do, even though the world at a mass knew me as James Worthy. But it opened my world up to a bigger world, and I didn't have to compete with someone else. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So it kind of gave me a different type of freedom, and it gave me a different type of identity. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it feels good to have that.
Because that could be pretty annoying that they was like, oh, like you said, hey, you playing basketball and now, or asking him, you're an artist now and a
Yeah.
songwriter now. So that would be pretty annoying. And then artisan, what made you just come up with artisan? Kind of match up with being
So so artisan is artisan means that you're the best at what you do at your craft.
okay.
And I chose that name because that's how I feel about myself. But also, I felt like that was just a name that embodies me because I've always stood on integrity and authenticity with my craft. So I never wanted to be like anybody else. I never really followed anybody else. I've always kind of stood on, what I wanted to do and what I felt. And that's what I felt about the name Artisan.
Oh, okay. So James Worthy, formerly known as James Worthy, now James Artisan.
Yes,
You have so many projects coming up really soon. Of course, more Grammy nominations are coming soon as well.
absolutely, absolutely. We
Nominations,
we working on getting the win.
right, right. Well, nominations and the win, where the win is gonna happen. I'm just talking about those nominations more than one because of course
Absolutely, absolutely.
Grammys, but we need like 5 nominations. We need
That's a fact.
7 nominations mixed with wins as well. But we'll take nominations over. We're just to be on the list is a blessing to
Absolutely.
have that. You made it on the list. So that's a crawl. Like you said, now it's time to walk up there with the trophy in the hand.
You
And
already know.
I believe and know for a fact that will happen for you because you're blessed with all type of jack of all trades. It's coming for you very soon,
Thank you
James.
so much. I appreciate that.
And I just have one more question for you. I'm not going to hold you too
What you
long.
got? What you got?
Um, could you let the audience know, in your opinion, how important to you, uh, how important is music to you?
How important is music to me? Music is everything because, music is what made me. It is what made me who I am today. Music is what kept me out of trouble. Music is what, kept me focused and kept me sane and just kept me on the right path. Who knows where I would be if I didn't have it, you know? So I think it's just probably saved my life, to be honest.
Yes, yes. Music is, I think, a part of therapy, in my opinion. For
Yeah,
I think it's a part of therapy. It soothes the mind. Sometimes you can even be in a bad mood, and you put some good music on. It'll calm your whole area. So I also agree with how music saves lives. Music save is a great therapy for people, and it's just very important to have very good music, especially good music like Aunt James Artisan.
absolutely.
I am honored. I am honored because I know I'm coming down to my last moment seeing you. I'll be seeing you on TV soon, walking across that stage, like you said, grabbing that Grammy.
We
It's
gonna do it. We gonna do it.
dropping this summer. You got a lot of collabs coming up, and so it's only up from here. It's
Oh
only
yeah, it's definitely up. 2026 is gonna be a big year. And I give it all the way up to my supporters, my fans, my people that just our team James Artisan, all the way. I couldn't do it without you guys, so thank you so much. And I'm gonna make you guys proud.
and shout out to I'm not sure if it's the manager that does your bookings for you.
Yeah.
Consider that's your manager.
Yeah, shout out to Linnell, yeah.
Linnell. Shout out to Linnell. He couldn't do it without you, baby. Shout out to you.
Yeah. Linnell is the truth. She got it.
Yes. He couldn't do it without you. So shout out to but once again, I am honored for you to come on this platform. And I'm definitely gonna make sure that no one does know, because you know my favorite saying is don't sleep. You can't if you gotta be sleep. If you're not woke on James Artisan, you go on back to bed. Cause it's
come on, man. Come on.
Go on back to bed. You know, and don't nothing come to a sleeper but a dream. So I'm gonna need you guys to wake up on James Artisan.
Come on now, we here.
Artist, one of the best songwriter, producers, entrepreneurs, and the CEO of Humble Sound Records, Mr. James Artisan. Thank you so much for joining Real Life Topics podcast and blessing us.
Thank you so much, Queen. Thank you for having me back.
I thank you so much. And you have all you guys have a great evening. And make sure you guys tune into Real Life Topics podcast every Monday and Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Central Time.